Hello, everyone. I have some music playing in the background today. Um, just I just thought there would be something nice in the background to listen to. We are back with our episode 20 recap of our Roll With It series. Oh, we have a group name now.
Mhm.
Hi, Light. I'm all over the place.
Hi.
ADHD
I
is
know.
strong.
It's fine.
Our lovely DM Light is with me. And yeah, we are going to talk about the previous episode, which was yesterday. And I'm going to say right off the bat, Light, I love this episode. It was great. Not because there
That's
was
good.
some combat, but there was also a moment of reflection for our characters. Like we'll get into it, I suppose, but I like that there was a bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
But welcome everyone, and this is I can't believe we're in episode 20.
I know, right?
So we've been doing this for I guess over 20 weeks now because we did take 2 weeks off for the holidays, I think.
It was like 2 weeks off. I think we also might have taken another week or two somewhere else. I think. So yeah, well, maybe roughly 3 or 4 weeks that we didn't stream or do anything.
Yeah. But that's Kylo barking.
It's okay. It's a hellhound.
Hellhound, yeah. I'm like I could mute, but I'm not gonna. It's been a ride. There's been a lot of stuff that has happened, and going back and thinking about everything that has happened in the campaign, it does feel, at least thinking about it feels longer than what it's been. But then almost every week, it's like, God, this isn't enough.
I mean, I tried to like when I first did multiple campaigns. I think my first one was like maybe 3 hours. Another one was 4 hours. And then I kind of centered back to 3 hours. And I think our campaign's like 3.5 hours. Just because, we have more people and, to get people used to it. And I think we actually went over 4 hours because I really wanted... it was, well, we'll get to it, but they had a little fight, not with each other so far.
So far.
And I also wanted to make sure, see what they got, the spoils, basically. So, I mean, it was fine. It was overall, and I think everybody enjoyed it because it was a little bit of everything, so.
Yeah, so we started off, like, our initial goal pretty quickly was we need to make money, but we also knew that there was a little girl that was missing and an older gentleman that are missing. And luckily enough, one of the jobs that we picked up was from, I mean, not luckily for them, but for us. The lady was one of the victims. Her husband got taken, and her son had been kind of acting out. But, like, he had good intentions, I suppose. And then part of me as Vaughn was like, I could introduce him to the Thieves Guild. But it's like, this kid.
It's funny because I thought of that too. I was like, I wonder if he's gonna do that because, the Thieves Guild, you think all the time thievery, but there's multiple aspects about Thieves Guild, in my opinion. You got your thieves, you got your people who listen, you got people who strategize, you got people who assassinate. There's all kinds of things, and I like to give. It's like almost paying tribute to Skyrim because Skyrim is such a great game.
It is.
And because they had like multiple things down there, especially like anywhere between like He's killed the Brotherhood, the mages, all that stuff. But anyways, um, it would have been cool, a cool concept, a cool idea. But well, I guess we're jumping ahead.
Yeah,
We're
yeah, yeah.
everywhere. But yeah.
So I think we all get up for breakfast. Victor
Mhm.
sleeps in.
Yes.
He's exhausted, and we essentially decide to just go talk to this woman. And when breakfast was served into our
Hmm.
room, which was really nice. But we go talk to this woman, Seraphy, and her daughter answers the door, and they actually tell us what's been going on with the kid. He decided to become bandits. They are throwing rocks at people that try to get near. They and she doesn't really know what to do. She's stressed out. She's working extra jobs because her husband's been taken, and is weighing heavily on her. And so ever since my character Brick heard about this, he's been distraught, mostly for the child, for the little girl. But because it's all connected, he's like, all right, well, we'll follow the avenue of knowledge here. And so they did, and they got some decent information. Not really like a lot, but then later on we got a little bit more. But we were offered 60 gold, which I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little surprised the rest of the group decided to turn it down, but not super
I
surprised.
I think it's how it's worded, how she talked, and from her husband missing to her saying, I think I need to get 2 jobs. It's hard because, even though she probably does have money, but she's looking for the future.
Right.
And even though it's like, scrounging around, seeing like how much she can, and then all of a sudden some other mothers got involved because it's like, well, my son's missing, my daughter's missing, so and so, blah blah blah. And so they put in the pot, and I think it was just heartfelt. And it's cool to see the different dynamics, because especially, everybody does need money.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. And for you guys, even those, it's funny because it's like people think 60 gold is nothing. Everybody's in the beginning, right? Everybody is there's expensive and stuff. And so far nothing's been too pricey except for somebody buying 100 gold worth of a scroll.
Yeah.
But later the expense is going to be, and they still need to buy winter clothing. They still probably need to see how much rations they have, see how much the portal is going to cost them. And it's good because they have techniques like day 10. They have 10 more days to go until the portals open on this continent. So it was definitely heartfelt, warm felt.
Yeah, it was a really nice moment.
Mhm.
But Vorin always disclosed the fact that you guys don't need to do this. I didn't want to for the rest of the group to feel guilt tripped. Although I'm not sure anyone did. Everybody kind of jumped at the idea of like, no, we don't need to take money. Because if there's one thing that's always been part of Vorin's personality, is that I don't take from those less fortunate. And even though this was being offered to him, he would have felt like he stole from them, because I don't know, they were so desperate. But he also understood that Victor was not going to be happy about it. I think
Look at
Victor
me. Yeah.
Victor's stressing about he stresses more about money because he comes from money. Um,
Hmm.
I think a lot of us are used to simpler lifestyles, are used to having less, are used to finding things instead of necessarily purchasing them, you know? Um,
Yeah.
so that worry that he has, I think most of us don't. Um, and Voren initially said, you know, we don't have to tell him. I'll give him some of mine because it's like I understand why he's stressing out, and I'm not trying to dismiss his stressing out either. Um,
Hmm.
but there was no way in hell that Voren was going to charge to find some kids. Voren has a soft spot for children because of the fact that he was left as a child, which comes into play later on as well. But they they tell the woman. I mean, they don't even tell her at that time, right? They find out.
Right. Hmm.
They found out how much it was going to cost, and they basically say agree that they're not going to charge anything. Um,
Hmm.
and the whole group, it was really awesome. The whole group was like, "Yeah, no way! Like we don't need coin for this." And so the little girl escorts us to what is the bandit camp.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a
Little
bit
little
more?
Beatrice. Yes. So as they were, uh, Beatrice is just this young little girl who's holding a stuffed sheep, and people probably think it's like, how come the mom's not taking them? She actually twisted her ankle. So basically, like, the little girl was in charge of this group, just to, follow behind. And at the same time, Euphemia asked Laura, which is a ghost, a spirit that follows her, just to kind of like, hey, can you watch the little girl? And so she got up on her side, her flanking side, and at the same time, this cat whose name is Soldier, flanked her other side and would kind of like dart ahead to like make sure the coast is clear and kind of like stop and wait for everybody to kind of join. Um, so eventually they get to this little bandit camp, which I think people thought it was adorable, because they had barricades up, they had tents up, they had, their um, sleeping bags and stuff. But the one thing is, the kids weren't ready. Winter is coming, or basically winter is here, but it's like not the heavy frost, because it's next to the sea. But with the sea and stuff that's coming from the mountains, it gets cold.
Hmm.
So they also like haven't eaten yet. I think they have been out there for like a day and a half, going on 2 days. Um, so there's a lot of little aspects for that.
Yeah, and so now as we're getting into that, right? The we arrive. The Voren decides to take lead because he's been known to dodge things easier than some of the rest of the group.
Hmm.
And these kids are throwing rocks, or they were intending to throw rocks. The little girl warned us about. So he takes lead and walks up. Were you surprised at our approach to the problem, or did you expect it?
I had a thought. I didn't think you guys were going to go immediately attack. Um, I think if Victor was there, I had a feeling like he would wanted to scare them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's my thought, but he wasn't there, so it changed like the whole dynamic. But because some of you guys have been alone, or stuff has happened to you guys, I think the most approach was definitely talking to them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I liked your approach because you were like, "Hey, I got a business opportunity for you."
So, so I guess there's a part of Vorn that knew that children are easy to either scare or feel threatened. So in his wise years, he'll say he felt that the best chance that I have with these children is that they see me as an equal,
Mhm.
or that they feel like I see them as equals. Give them the respect that they so desperately seek. So funny enough, Voren just says, well, I have a business proposition. I'm looking to hire some bandits. I am a thief. And that's actually the first time Voren's ever like said that out loud.
Mhm.
Because he always like alludes to it, and everyone kind of knows, right? But he's never just flat out said it. And
Mhm.
that's not the first thing he starts opening up about. But the kids then we have their attention. They decide to approach us, and with Euphemia's help, she was also, the way that I saw Euphemia was a bit more of a nurturing role in that conversation as well. Like I think maybe they felt a bit of comfort coming from her words and her actions. Meanwhile, Vorn was just trying to be like propositional,
Mhm.
and the whole idea was to scare them, but in a different way than Victor would have probably scared them.
Mhm.
I'm really curious to see what Victor would have said or would have done.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But once we like, Vorn knows what it's like to be a kid on his own,
Mhm.
and he knows hunger is the first thing that comes. It's not easy to pay for food. It's not easy to acquire food. You're not going to go hunting as a child. I mean, you could, right? But it's not easy
Mhm.
without any experience. So he alluded to that, right? He's like, well, are you guys hungry? And I have food. We can talk over this proposition over dinner, over food. And immediately a couple of them perked up, which was great. Like, we had our in.
Yeah.
And then the kids still trying to act tough. They're like, well, we're 5, so you can only bring 5. It's like, fine. It's not like my 5 aren't adults. Right? Like,
I mean, they were trying to act adult because
yeah,
it's
right.
like him mocking you like earlier. Not like it's mocking, but at the same time, it's like, okay, so you said that you just brought your 3. Okay, I'll bring my 3. But now it's like you guys want to enter my camp. So, okay, I have 5 here, so you could bring 5, So
Mm-hmm.
it's like one of those things, like it's almost like safety measures too.
Right. And so yeah, so we kind of gave in to the quote unquote demands. We're like, sure.
Mhm.
We sat down by the fire. Voren gave them some of his rations that he had in his bag. Voren's kind of a light eater anyway. He pecks here and there at certain things, but they were hungry, and immediately after that, they kind of started dropping their walls, so to speak.
Mhm.
So, how do you think, as the NPCs in this scene, up to that point, how did you think the group handled it?
I think very well. Especially like I was rolling like tiny things off the scene, of course, and to have it where it's like the certain things or certain aspects like food, hunger. Minerva seeing like, oh, they're freezing out here. They're cold. So it turned out really well in my opinion.
I thought it was a great scene.
Mm-hmm.
Then she gave them food, and then that's kind of when we started talking. And
Yeah.
Voren started overselling the idea of what it's like to be on your own. And I don't necessarily think he lied at any time. He may have just, polished some of the things a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Euphemia picked up on it almost instantly because she immediately started piling on top of it.
Yeah.
And the kids started dropping like flies. And what I mean by that is they were like, nope, I am out of here. I think the first thing that I said was like, oh, so which one of you is a hunter? Because you're going to go hungry often. And
Mm-hmm.
they're like, well, I mean, I can hunt. I don't have a bow or anything. And it's like, oh boy. And then, so at this moment is when Brick actually opened up. And I think he did it with the sense that maybe his group won't bring it back up. Like, maybe it'll go over as just lies,
Yeah.
But he was being completely honest. Talking about how he was left, how he went hungry, how he had cold nights, how tough it was. And he had to fend for himself because he didn't have a family. And it wasn't until he was embraced by a different family that he managed to start living, So
Mm-hmm.
where he was trying to meet them eye to eye was, you have a family. And I think he said it at one point. It's like, don't throw away your family when some of us didn't have the option. And I think that was the whole theme to Voren's case that he was presenting.
Mm-hmm.
And Euphemia as well, because even though Voren doesn't really know a whole lot about it, she also went through a very similar situation. I think a few of us have. And she also kind of, peeled back some layers and exposed some of her truth. That, it's not fun to be alone. And we didn't have the option.
%, yeah.
And then so one by one, the kids were like, fuck this shit. This is not the life for me. And I thought it was so cool. The fact that it's like, I think that was the first time that we were put in a situation that was a conflict situation, somewhat, but that we had to, get out of it by just talking, by
Mm-hmm.
by revealing ourselves a bit. And I think it was kind of a cool character development type of thing that some people might pick up on and some might not.
Mm-hmm.
So then from there,
sure.
We went back to the place, right?
Yes. The kids walked back with you. And then you guys talked to the mom, and she was, getting ready to basically give you the coins, and that's when you all turn it down.
and she was surprised,
Mhm.
because we basically did what she asked, what she hired us for. She was surprised, um, but it was right, kind of like I explained earlier. It was the right thing to do, and then because she had to offer us something, she just felt indebted to us.
Mhm.
Minerva.
I love her.
Oh my god.
Also,
It's so
Minerva.
good.
Here, go ahead. Go ahead. Say.
No, you say, you say.
um. So the mom was offering, like, basically not offering to them, but basically talking to her kids. Hey, breakfast or food is in the kitchen. Go ahead and go eat. Be just follow your brother, and they left. And then that's when she's like, I wish I could repay you. And Minerva said, what she said, like something along the line, like, oh, dinner sounds good or something like
Yeah,
that.
dinner. Yeah, well, dinner sounds nice. That'll be enough.
Yeah. So yeah, she must understood what I said, so we just made it canon. And it's funny because throughout this, I was gonna say season, but throughout the episodes, she's always eating something. She's
Yeah.
always snacking, and it's kind of funny because it kind of reminds me of I just blanked on the movie. Oh, what is it?
Which one?
I'm trying to think. It's the one with like Brad Pitt, and he's always eating.
Is that Ocean's 11?
Yes. I feel like if you guys were Ocean's 11, Minerva is Brad Pitt
Yeah, like she would just
munching in the
always
background.
had like snacks.
Yes.
It's so funny though because we know her to be small, right? Like, or tinier,
Mhm.
more petite, but she eats quite a bit. And every time that we sit down to like dinner or whatever, she's like, well, Minerva will like pack a plate to eat and stuff like that. And it's just,
Mhm.
it's always funny
I
because
mean,
in my head canon, she can eat.
yeah. And I mean, it's like, well, I can see because she's wearing armor, and that's heavy, so she needs to maintain a good healthy weight.
Yeah. So, so then the woman's like, oh, I mean, yeah, I can do that. Like,
Mhm.
I wasn't inviting you for dinner, but I could do that. And so now we're due to go back for dinner next session. Because beforehand we still had a lot of time. We got this done fairly quickly. So we went back and we decided to find out what happened to Victor, if he was awake yet.
Mhm.
And we met up with him along the way. So we decided to just do the other job because why not? We have time.
Mhm.
Do you want to tell us what that job was?
Oh, before that, we forgot to mention that in the beginning, when everybody was getting up and going for breakfast, there was a moment where people saw the undead monkey having basically like a purse, like a coin purse,
True.
and people thought, did they hear the monkey? Did the monkey actually talk? Because it sounded like it says, all right, I'm on my way to work or something like that. And when fast forward, when Victor saw the rest of his companions, in the corner of his eye, he could have sworn he saw the monkey with the coin purse kind of walking around. And so that's where everybody was like, kind of like, yeah, I don't, yeah, that happened, I think. um
Yeah.
so that's that's when they went for the other job. They met
Also,
a guy.
another
Mhm.
thing we forgot to mention was the fact that the kid gave us a bit more information on the cart.
Yes.
The Timmy, which was the kid that we saved from banditry, um, told us that the cart had what appeared to be like laundry bags and stuff in the back,
Mhm. Mhm.
which kind of disappeared in a blink of a light, or that uh, it turned white and there it went.
Mhm.
But also the fact that there was a limited amount of tracks, which alluded to the fact that whatever it was flew in and out, and only stopped momentarily. Or at least that's what our assumptions are, right? And
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, because apparently we saw the footprints, and then that's it. They were gone, along with the cart tracks. So
Mhm.
either something, it has the ability to teleport or fly. So right now we don't know, but that's more information than we had previously.
Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, we met up with Victor and we decided to do the other job. What was said job?
So the job was basically this man who just calls himself boss. Said that he was looking for some people to tear down basically an eyesore of a house. He explained that there's it looks like it's just kind of like falling apart. And he said the reason why he's looking for some people because he wanted his crew to take off because they've been working so hard for these past 3 months because trying to get Feilu back together kind of thing. So you can just imagine what happened. Riots. So, but everything, by the time they came back, is everything's calm and stuff. So, he's being a good boss. And at the same time, there could have been people who are still stranded here and needed some money, some gold. So, he basically explained, go ahead and go in the house, make sure there's no squatters, remove anything that you think like, if anything explodes, debris, whatever, go ahead and just like put it in a pile. He gave him a stick of dynamite. He says, if you want it, keep it, doesn't matter, it's fine, just be careful. And he kept saying, make sure to look for squatters over and over. And it's funny because I don't think anybody caught that, but the reason why I did it is because this is the over the table. There's been multiple times, it doesn't matter if you're playing a game, RPing in the game, or Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or whatever, people all of a sudden go, what are we supposed to do? When they get to the point. So that's
Yeah.
why I kept repeating. Make sure there's no squatters. Make sure there's no squatters. So
And even then, I was like, we should probably go inside and make sure that there's nothing. Because we were still about to. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. You see? Point taken. But and then I forgot to mention in character, but I kind of went like, oh yeah, he did hand you a key because the door was locked. So yeah, so you guys eventually went there, and you can explain because it was between you, Victor, at first.
It was so funny because, okay, like, this is D&D, right? Which means
Right.
never assume a door is safe.
Correct.
And Victor and Voren being rogue, he's like, hold up. What if it's trapped, or what if there's something wrong here? Why, like, why is it being torn down? What is going on? And it's like, we should detect magic, at least. And Victor was about to do that, and then Euphemia and Magpie just walk in the house.
Yep.
It's like, what the fuck?
It was the fun.
So
it was
funny
like
if there was a trap.
it was
or
like the
something.
opposite. Yeah, it felt like the opposite. Like, I'm not saying that you guys would have been like automatic go in there and stuff, but it was just like, wait a second, the other rogue just went in.
Mhm.
What? So yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, they're like the anti-Victor and Voren. It's like
Right?
the noble and the rogue versus the noble and the rogue. And so we're like, what the fuck? They just went in. But Victor did get magic that was that he saw coming from upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And still Euphemia and Magpie just walk upstairs.
Yep.
I'm glad that Celeste went after them. But in my professional opinion, as one of the resident rogues, it was
Mm-hmm.
very foolish. Or careless, I should say. It was very careless. It could have been bad. It wasn't, but it could have.
True.
And especially with what, we discovered later on. Which, after they found a key and Vorin found a locked door, which, when you see a door that doesn't lead anywhere upstairs, it's going down. Like, that's just the way that it is. So he assumed it was a basement of sorts. We knew that it was magically enhanced lock because of Victor. And so I didn't try to pick it. We didn't try to do anything. And then when they came back down, we told them about the door, but they had found an enchanted key as well. And it's like, well, I mean, we can try. Magic key, magic lock.
Everything magic, yes.
Yeah. So the lock opened, and at least they let us make sure it was safe first. Instead of just going in again. Victor sent his owl in, or did I look? No, I looked after, right? Or before?
He sent the owl in first.
Yeah. And the owl flew in and made it to the door.
No, the owl was sassy.
The owl was not happy about what it had to do. Yeah.
No. It basically walked to, and it's like a hole, basically like in a trapdoor kind of thing. So it walked to the door, turned around, and put his foot back and just dropped. So,
like, make sure you're looking at me.
Right. Like, I'm going in the hole. I have wings. So, yeah.
So it flies in there, it scouts and makes sure that it's safe, and it gets to a door that it's able to slightly push, but I mean, how much could an owl push?
It's just like very, very little, because it was a stone door. So just kind of like through Victor's eyes, he can see it kind of nudge, but then the owl's like, forget it, I'm not doing it anymore.
I can't do that, yeah. So, so then Vorin kind of peeks in as well. He has dark vision up to 60 feet. So, like, he just kind of looks to make sure that, like, the owl just kind of flew in, right? But, all right, did we make sure the floor is safe and stuff,
I don't think so.
No.
You guys just kind of went down there.
Yeah, when I looked, I was like, there's nothing moving or nothing. So it's like, all right, let's go. And we went.
Yeah. The only thing, what you guys noticed, it was like carved, like somebody carved this area, and because I know that Magpie was saying, well, she wants to look for, any markings and stuff. The only thing that you saw is just being carved out.
Yeah. So it, and you said that it had a similar style or look to what the Thieves Guild's tunnels and stairs are. Which was
it's all stonework and
man-made.
probably like makeshift woodwork and stuff. Yep.
So it was kind of cool. So we go in there, then because it's a big open space and it's hard to see around, even for those with dark vision, um, we Victor turned us invisible, which was cool. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this could come in handy for like other future stuff, but we'll we'll pocket that and think about it later. He turned he turned the rogues invisible because we might be easier to sneak around, and so we did. We walked pretty much the entirety of the thing. There was nobody. However, comma, there were conjuring symbols.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went to get the rest of the groups. It's like, okay, it looks safe, but there's something you guys should see. So what I'm curious about is the things that ended up coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Were they always there? Or did Victor
Over the
trigger them?
table? Well, okay, over the table. They were sleeping.
Hmm.
And I was waiting for that moment where either one of you steps on the thing, one of the symbols, two, if there's a cluster of you. And it ended up being a cluster of you, kind of waking up one.
Yeah.
And that one woke up the others. Even though you don't know how many there were, but they all woke
We
up.
didn't, yeah. But yeah, so these things got Victor started talking in Infernal, and Vorin speaks Infernal, and he was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Because it was like why? What if they're like gonna respond to that or whatever? So then these things came out and we had a fight on our hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost immediately took one down. Man, my rolls were on point last night. And
Very good for once. Just kidding.
they've been pretty good so far. I always have like pretty good rolls, and then like one or two that are just like, ugh, why?
Yeah.
But so far so good. And so I fought strictly with my daggers because it was hard to see, and also I didn't want to accidentally hit anybody else. I was like, okay, well, close combat is probably the way to go. If I shoot an arrow and I don't know if there's somebody along the way, this is like RP stuff, but if there's somebody in the way, I'm gonna hit one of my friends or whatever. So daggers was the way to go, and he fought. He almost took one down. And then his worst nightmare happened. And did you see what I typed? Not again.
I missed that. That's funny.
Because you were like, oh, it starts like gurgling or whatever. And I was like, not again. Something's gonna spit all over him. But it did like a gas poison cloud of sorts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I guess Vorin, being the closest, was able to dodge and not be affected. I think everybody else managed to dodge it except Euphemia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think she was poisoned for the most of the fight.
Yeah, I need to go back and see what I want to do with poison. Because when I read it, it said at the end of its turn or your turn or whatever, you can roll. But other campaigns or other people use it where it's like you're poisoned for the rest. So I might just do that because it just seemed like you would be poisoned, and how would you have gotten rid of it, kind of thing.
Right.
Because poison goes into it. So I just might, if something happens like that, I just might keep it.
For either a certain amount of turns or time or until you get rid of it. Yeah, It makes sense.
Yeah, because it just made sense. But it's okay. Some people got rid of it. Some people got it back. That's fine. But then, well, they all fought. So yeah.
Yeah, we kicked those things' asses.
Yep. Luckily, it was only those things.
One got a good hit on me. Like I can't get out of a fight without getting hit.
Correct.
There's a couple of players in the group that don't get hit often. But I always get hit. But it's fun.
You're just there. You're just there.
Just there. Just gotta get close, personal. Try to go for the backstab.
Yep.
I don't have a backstab.
No.
But yeah.
Eventually.
We do the thing. We blow up the house.
Mm-hmm.
Which we did pretty smartly, I should say. We were very careful. It could have been bad, or there could have been an accident that happened, but somebody suggested doing an oil trail, which was
had some oil.
Clever. I had some oil as well too, I think. But.
And what's funny is how I think I described it like it blew up, and then all of a sudden, you see the fire, and then it kind of went out. You want to know why? This is over the table. This is OC. You want to know why they went out? It's because Minerva left those jelly beads.
Oh.
That makes water.
Yeah.
So she left them behind. And it was a jelly bead. They're like jelly beads or whatever they're called, like gelatin or whatever. And they can make up to I can't remember how big water, but there's 5 of them. So, of course, explosions, they all went different ways and eventually, knocked out some of the fire out.
That's pretty funny. That is very funny. I'm not sure why she left them.
I don't know either.
But...
it's a wondrous item, too.
Yeah. But we forgot to mention that, we got a bunch of stuff. We got coin, we got potions, we got... I think there was a scroll.
There were 3 scrolls. You got a jug of alchemy, a bag of holding.
Yeah.
Let's see, what was it out? There was a life-size raven, which Nyx took. Some bone dice. I think a copper ring. Oh, you got a ring of warmth. Yeah, I think that was it. I thought there was something else. I can't think.
Yeah, I don't remember. But there was a bunch of stuff, and now we're doing a lot better with money. But...
Chelsea was complaining the whole way. It's like, why so many copper coins?
Just pick them up.
There's so many.
Also, I don't know if I mentioned it. I think I mentioned it earlier, but we decided on a group name, which is the Veil Walkers. Which, just means we're walking in the unknown, because it seems like that is kind of what we're always doing. It's the unknown is what leads us. And so, Veil Walkers it is.
There you go, yeah.
But yeah, so we got that. We went back to the person that hired us. We said, hey, what the fuck? This was there, and you didn't tell us anything about that. He seemed genuinely curious. Vorn was suspicious, but that's because Vorn's suspicious of everyone. And he just kind of when you squint your eyes, I'm watching you, motherfucker. As soon as you give me the slightest hint that you're lying. But no, he said he was going to report it back to the Lord and Lady and talk to mages and whatever about what was actually going on down there. So that might not be the last time that we hear about this. But we got paid, and we got a bonus.
Paid. Yeah,
So,
he's going to pay you 150 gold, and he added 50 more gold to that situation because you dealt with something, and that's almost like hazard pay if
Hazard
you
pay,
think
yeah.
about it.
Along with all the
Yeah.
money we found, which was more
Yep.
than what we got paid. No, it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. But it was quite a bit.
Yes, it was a lot.
Which is great. So we decided to instead of splitting up the pay, we decided to split up what we found, or not split it up, but put that in the group pot.
Yep.
Which was a great idea. And yeah, so we headed back to. Did we head back to the server side? I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, the service deck, yes.
And
that's where you divvied it up and
right, counted everything, and now Victor's
counted
gotta
everything.
go through all the magical shit.
Yeah, and Victor was the one that I identified, like the alchemy jug and a bag of holding and stuff.
And now we have to take some baths or showers, clean up,
Yep.
get changed, and then head off to dinner at Seraphis.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what else we learned there?
Who knows? You might just have a good dinner.
Yeah. Or she snitches that we didn't take the money, and Victor's like, "What the fuck?"
Who knows?
Who knows? We'll see. Light likes to torture us, so.
What are you talking about?
But that's pretty much it. Is there anything that you think we missed?
No, I think that was it. I think it was a nice fun. I know that sometimes some episodes may drag, others may go, oh shit, I almost died.
Mm-hmm. Or there's like internal conflict, but this one was just like, we did what we had to do. We had some fighting and had a good time.
For sure.
But yeah, that is our episode 20 recap. We will be live next Sunday with our episode 21. I actually come back from New York on Sunday, but I will be back in time for the session. And yeah, looking forward to it, to see where we go from here. What else we learn about the kidnappings, and if there's any more money to be made.
Mm-hmm. We shall see.
But thank you, Light, for hanging out. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you all next time.
Yep. Take care. Adios.